This is Rob Staunton, brother of Bob, and part-time bum fluff collector. I'm not recommending you subscribe to the Tommy Boyds Shrine YouTube channel. Why would you want exclusive rare audio? Push off, you jumped-up lefties. Don't subscribe. This show suggests we bring back bullfighting to the UK. Countless heated arguments, lots of foul language, and plenty of bull. What's your beef?
Ground control's a major tom.
I'm the Liga Ola Boo.
If you really bug me, then I'll say goodbye.
Morning, and yes, in reply to people who have written and faxed, that is the voice of the man on Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Between now and 3 o'clock on this well, first of all, between 3 o'clock and 4, I thought it might be quite useful to take to pieces the latest information in front of us today about spelling and education. So it will be a school and a 3 R's hour between 3 and 4, which a lot of people find particularly enjoyable because, of course, it's something that's right in their face with children. But we all went to school, so it's something that we all know something about, and we all read and write with varying degrees of expertise. But in this first hour of the programme, an idea from a listener who has suggested that we could tackle a number of Scott Rhodes, it is, of Manchester, who suggests that we might be able to tackle a number of the problems facing society today and at the same time provide ourselves with a new, virile, exciting sport. And I guarantee you, if they put it on television on Saturday evenings, it would knock Noel Edmonds off the number 1 spot. Bullfighting. Seriously, we have to think about it. We all believe we know our mind when it comes to bullfighting. Because, to be quite honest, for the last 30 or 40 years, we've all been brainwashed into thinking that it's something that those primitive Spaniards do and the rest of the world, quite rightly, don't do. Well, we in this country hunt foxes, and a lot of people say there's nothing wrong with that. However, it looks as though before the end of this Parliament, a bill will be passed outlawing this country hobby. So the people who do that are going to be looking for an alternative way of spending their Saturday evenings, aren't they? What would happen if we introduced bullfighting to this country? First of all, it's a free country, isn't it? And yet, no, it isn't, because at the moment, you wouldn't be allowed to do bullfighting anywhere, not even in the bull ring in Birmingham. Bullfighting. It's real sport. It's real sport because the outcome really matters. That's the objection that so many people who can't understand what the fuss is all about with sport raise most often. It's theatre. It's unreal. Well, nothing could be more real than bullfighting, because the man who's taking part is risking his life so that the people who have paid 30 quid, or less, of course, if you go to, a smaller venue, to enjoy themselves. It's real sport. It would do our young men good, I say, when you consider how few opportunities young men have to genuinely test their courage in the face of genuine danger. And that's what young men want to do, whether we like it or not. Men, by the time they're 17, 18 or 19, they want a bit of danger. And so they find themselves bungee jumping for charity, for goodness sake. Or doing a parachute once they've got out into the real world and they're working as security guards. They do a parachute jump for charity. But it isn't real danger, and real danger is what they want. And now that we don't have any wars worth speaking of, if we were to reintroduce I say reintroduce consciously because it used to happen in this country in one way, shape or form. If we were to reintroduce bullfighting to Britain, we'd have a real sport to celebrate on Saturday Grandstand. And not only that, it would do our young men good, but it would also do the country a lot of good as well, wouldn't it? It would reduce unemployment, and it would help solve one or two of the more ticklish problems which the BSE crisis have laid at the door of 10 Downing Street. What to do with all the infected cattle, all the suspect cattle, all the cattle who may in the future come down with BSE. They have to be destroyed. And that's a waste. That's a shame. Obviously, it's a shame from the cow's point of view, but it's also a shame from the farmer's point of view. And it's a shame from the taxpayer's point of view, because you and I, we have to pay for those cows. The farmers get some money, but the compensation isn't what the cow is worth. And the taxpayer has to shell out for an animal to be put down, and no use is made of it whatsoever. Well, if the cattle industry, if the dairy farmers were able to sell their suspect cattle onto the bullfighting industry, Okay, then the farmers would be happy, the taxpayer wouldn't pay, and people who wanted to go and watch bullfighting, and it is a free country, isn't it, will be able to do so. I'd have to paint some of the Frisians all black, but that's neither here nor there. Free call 0500 10 53 89. It would, I think, improve law and order, because an awful lot of aggression would be taken out in a legitimate way. It would improve relations with Spain, which is very important, because this is an increasingly impressive EU partner, the Iberian Peninsula, and we've always done good business with them when it goes as far as holidays are concerned. And that leads me on nicely to another point. It would save people who go to Spain for their holiday a fortune if global warming really does kick in and we have bullfighting over here. There will be absolutely no need whatsoever to go to Torremolinos for your 2 weeks. Free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Talk to Tommy Boyd. Free call 0500 10 53 89. 0500 10 53 89.
So let's reintroduce bullfighting into this country. On top of everything else, it's kinda for the bulls, because that's what bulls want to do. Jean calls from Gloucester. Jean, you're on Talk Radio. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I think you've reached the absolute pits this time. Have you ever been to a bullfight?
No, but I read a lot of Hemingway.
Well, I stayed at a hotel in Spain, and a party went. I stayed 10 minutes and came away, and the rest of the party couldn't stay the rest of the time. Have you ever seen a horse with its entrails hanging out, gored by bulls? Have you seen the bulls driven absolutely demented with the things that are thrust into them? It's one of the cruelest things you can possibly see. It ruined the holiday for two of the people. They couldn't get the sight of it out of their minds. Now, there will be people here that would watch in the same way as they like badger baiting, cockfighting, dog fighting. So there will be people, but it's just about the cruelest thing you can watch.
Well, I don't know. I'd prefer it to, for example, going to the opera.
You prefer it to what?
Going to the opera.
The opera? Oh, well, just shows, doesn't it?
Well, if you don't mind me saying so, that's rather snobbish.
You prefer to see animals torn to pieces,
rather a snobbish attitude.
Rather than go to the opera?
Well, I don't think they get pulled to pieces. If you watched carefully, you would have seen that what they actually do is very humanely insert the sword into a small...
Rubbish. Have you seen the horns of the bull gore the inside of a horse out?
Well, they don't, because the horses wear mattresses, as you know.
Rubbish.
There's a lot of propaganda in any of this.
You don't know what you're talking about. You're advertising cruelty at its worst form. You really are, and though I listen to your programme a lot, and I laugh a lot because I know you wind people up, you do sometimes carry things too far, and there will be people, I don't doubt there are a lot of cruel people in this country who would enjoy it. I didn't think you'd be one of them, but obviously you would.
Well, I think the outfits are grand. I mean, wouldn't you fall for me if I was decked out like that?
Fall for you?
What those matadors wear. I mean, isn't that really cunning garb? Don't they look great?
I don't care what they wear. I'm not.
The young men who fight bulls, Jean. I mean, who would you rather share a train compartment with? Okay.
Certainly not with anyone as cruel as that. I wouldn't want them anywhere.
No, I'm going to ask you a serious question. Would you rather share the compartment with 6 football fans or 6 matadors?
Well, I do it with the fan. I don't like either, but anything rather than terrible.
But the matadors are fine, upstanding, proud, dignified men.
Bastards.
Oh, now look at you now. You're worse than a football hooligan.
I don't care what
Language.
I am. I don't care. I feel so strongly about it. I would never go to Spain again.
Oh, Jean. Free call 0500 10 53 89. The beaches are marvellous. Don't cut off your nose to spite your face. David calls from Cardiff. You're on Talk Radio. David?
Hi, Tommy.
Good afternoon.
You're talking a lot of garbage.
Oh.
Absolute garbage. You don't... I expect you have, but do you know what happens to the bull before he even gets to the matador? His horns are sheared off by about 3 inches, right? So he can't judge the length of his horns. That's why they get away with it all the time. He has cotton wool stuffed into his nostrils so he can't breathe. Right? He's beaten around the kidneys and the liver with sacks of sand so the bruises don't show. He has the wick in him. He has Vaseline spread in his eyes so it affects his vision. Right? This is before he gets into the Matador, the big brave guy with the red cape.
You've been reading too many leaflets outside the
haven't.
supermarket. I've seen the animal rights people. They've always got a trestle table just down by the little chewing gum machine, and they hand out things like this, and people like you, swallow it all, hook, line, and sinker.
No, we don't. My wife. No, are you still? Am I on air, Tommy? Or are you?
Well,
who's on air now? Are you talking or me?
I'm not with you here.
My wife works for.
I'm not quite with you here.
What
was that all about? Are you confused?
Me? Are you talking to me?
Yes.
No, I'm not talking. I'm not confused.
Oh.
You are.
Oh, am I?
Yes, of course you are. You haven't got it.
If we did bullfighting in this country, David, we wouldn't allow any of those dubious practices, which may or may not have taken place occasionally in Spain.
My wife works with Milagros Galtiano of Madrid, who is now an organisation called ANDA, who is look, David. She's been to Spain. I have not been to Spain.
David, excuse me. I did not say that we should adopt bullfighting as they do it in Spain in this country.
Oh, you twisted it. No,
you
said
sir.
It's a wonderful
sport. You don't pay
honest.
attention. What we should do is stylise bullfighting so it is suitable for the British people in the 1990s.
You did not say that, first of all. You said it was a wonderful sport. We should put all our cows with BSC and all this.
Well, what are you going to do with them?
You know, Spain, they prop up the bullfighting. 5% of their GDP to prop up bullfighting.
Well, what are you going to do with the BSC cows then? You see, this is the problem. What are you going to do with them? We're going to send them to an abattoir.
Put them down humanely.
How? Is that what happens?
Down humanely, and you burn the corpses.
Is that what happens?
Not like the Spanish. They don't even tell us they got BSC and they're eating a cow.
How do they put them down humanely then?
You put a bullet in their brain quickly.
Is that what happens?
Well, I assume so.
Oh, get out of here. Honestly.
A captive bolt. I'm sorry, they put a captive bolt into their brain.
How partial can you possibly get?
Sorry?
How partial can a person possibly get?
What do you mean by partial?
The Spaniards do that to their bulls, and what do we do? What do we do?
Kill the goats and
give them the last rites, call for a priest?
I don't think so.
I got a
video I could send you of the way they treat their animals in the slaughterhouses. But honestly, Tommy, I enjoy your programme, but I wish you wouldn't fetch up very serious problems like this and treat it so lightheartedly.
Right.
You talk about other things, but when it comes down to abuse, and that is abuse, you shouldn't treat it so lightheartedly.
Well, look, David.
Right.
I suspect that an awful lot of us have picked up an awful lot of prejudices about bullfighting.
Well, I expect we have.
And I expect quite a few of us... No, I expect quite a few of us have been fed one or two bits and pieces of largely racist propaganda about the Spaniards.
No, the Spanish people are lovely.
Yeah.
They've got a few, it's got a few in this country.
Yes. We're shifting the goalposts around a little bit, or is it the rugby posts?
Rugby posts, yeah.
Probably, yes. What happened to Welsh rugby?
I don't know, but that's nothing to do with Spanish bullfighting.
No, but conversations...
Change the subject because you're on a loser?
No, sirree. No way. Not like Welsh rugby.
Well, I know we're on a loser. I can tell you a joke now, but it'd take too long.
Go ahead. I don't care.
You don't mind me saying it?
No.
Right, there was an Englishman, an Irishman, and a Welshman. And they were flying over the Amazon. And the chap in charge of the plane had a heart attack and they landed in the middle of the Amazon. Right? But they managed to get out except for the pilot. And the Englishman said, follow me, chaps, and I'll get us out of this mess. And they walked for about 2 days and came across this huge river full of alligators, piranhas, and hippopotamuses, you name it, all in it. And the Englishman said, I tell you what, chaps, I'll swim across the river and I'll throw a vine across you and you can shimmy across. So he dived in the water, halfway across, bump, gone, alligator. Had him. So the Welsh fellow said to the Irish fellow, tell you what, Paddy, I'll swim across and I'll throw you a vine. And Paddy said, you're mad. He said, you just seen what happened to the English guy? No problem. He said, and he tiptoed and swam right across, no problem. The Irishman got over after swimming over the vine and said, how do you manage it? And Taffy ripped open his shirt and said, Wales for the Triple Crown. He said, no bugger's going to swallow that.
Yes, thank you. That one has been knocking around longer than you, David, hasn't it, really?
Well, why do you let me carry on
used to be the bloke who got across had Birmingham for the Cup tattooed on his bottom.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, I think you got it wrong. You got it wrong as well, didn't you? Like your views on bullfighting, but thanks for your call. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Daniel calls now from Essex. You're on Talk Radio, Daniel.
Hello, Tommy. Yeah,
Hello.
Slight problem with your argument, mate.
Oh, yeah.
With bullfighting and BSC, I understand BSC affects more heifers than bulls.
Yeah.
And heifers are normally docile animals, so how are you going to get them to act like bulls in a bullfighting ring?
Well, where did you hear that heifers are docile animals, sir?
Well, I believe they are.
I know you do, but where did you get it from?
Just from what I see, I mean...
Oh, sorry?
Just from what I see.
What you've seen?
Yeah, well...
Have you ever been in a field of heifers?
Yeah, well, I mean, I live out in the country.
Yes, but
I don't believe they're particularly vicious animals.
Yes, let's make the conversation consecutive. Have you ever been in a field of heifers?
Yeah.
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 They come towards you, don't they?
Maybe so, but they don't come stampeding towards you and start knocking you about as a bull would.
They come towards you and they look very menacing, don't they? Have you not had to run from a herd of heifers? I have.
No, never.
Well, you don't look like a bullfighter. Obviously, I have that majesty about me. I don't know.
Is that what it is?
Quite possibly.
I don't believe you could actually use the cows for bullfighting.
Have you ever worked as an animal trainer?
No.
No, well, I have. And I'm here to tell you that you could very easily train a heifer to go for a matador.
I understood that cows are actually one of the thickest animals around. I understand they're impossible to train.
Well, who's tried?
Well, obviously nobody, because they're so thick they're not worth worrying about.
Well, what could you do with a trained cow? What are you going to do with a trained cow? Nobody's tried. What would you do with a trained cow?
You just told me you was going to train one to attack a matador.
I've just found a use for it, yes.
Yeah, but you're not going to do it, though, are you?
Well, no, at the moment I wouldn't be allowed to. I think you'll find that bullfighting is outlawed in this country, unless, of course, we can find a...
the conversation's actually a waste of time, because you wouldn't be allowed to do the bullfighting either.
No conversation is a waste of time if we're talking about what could or should happen.
I just don't understand where you're coming from with bullfighting with heifers. If they've got BSC, most of them can't stand up anyway.
I don't understand
they should be destroyed in the correct way.
I'm appalled by this idea that exactly what we've got is all we can ever aspire to. Such stagnation, Daniel. You're a procrastinator. Yes. What are you? You're a procrastinator.
No, I think I'm pretty spot on with this argument.
I dream, Daniel, of a brighter future for our children. And
thank you very much.
If bullfighting is going to be a part of that, then let's explore that possibility, yes? Must be done.
I don't think so.
Well, it's hard work, but it has to be done. Someone has to do it, so it's me and you. Free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
There's a good argument for listening. Free call 0500 10 53 89 now.
Let's bring bullfighting over here to Britain. It would solve an awful lot of problems, wouldn't it? A lot of people spend a fortune going on safari to East Africa to have a look at dangerous animals, but British wildlife can be dangerous. Just need to poke it. David calls from Perth. You're on Talk Radio, David. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tommy. I must endorse everything the other people have said. I think myself, I know you like winding people up, but encouraging people to be cruel, as you are, is absolutely disgraceful, because I consider bullfighting, though I admit I've never actually seen it, it's medieval, it's barbaric, and it's despicable. And it could well be that gullible young people are listening to what you're saying. Now, I believe that there are plenty of ways that young men can channel their energies without resorting to what you're advocating. There are thousands of ways that young men can get rid of their energies. They don't have to indulge in that disgraceful abuse of animals.
First of all, on behalf of the British nation, I would like to apologise to all Spanish people who are listening to this kind of dated claptrap about them being the devil incarnate and Britain being a country, of course, which likes to see itself as being, you know, the animal lovers of the world. And secondly, David, name one.
Name what, Tommy?
Name one activity. You said you can think of thousands. Name one.
Good gracious, what about sport? There's swimming, boxing. Are thousands of sports they can indulge in.
Where's the risk in swimming?
There's plenty of risk in boxing.
What?
Have you ever done any?
Boxing?
Yes.
Yes, of course I have.
Well, let them go.
Have you ever done any?
If there are young men who feel frustrated because of their energy, let them take up boxing.
It's
and
not
get
as
into the ring
dangerous.
every night.
It's neither as dangerous, nor does it have as much status as the matador, David, does it? Be honest.
I'm sorry, Tommy, I know that you are highly intelligent and I'm not, but you're talking nonsense.
Deal with the argument then, or change your mind.
No.
No!
And you know yourself, you keep on about the Spanish people, they are also cruel in other ways. Some of their fiestas, an abuse of animals, you know, these fiestas they have where the bull is attacked with blowpipes and all the rest of pin cushions and sticking pins into them, all the disgraceful things. They seem to get a pleasure out of inflicting pain.
Now, you've been watching too much satellite TV. I think you're confused. What you're talking about is Pamplona.
They're a sadistic people.
Oh, hark at you. Well, I prefer the Spaniards to bulls.
You should be ashamed to be defending something like that when you're a father of two young boys, you told us.
What's that got to do with the price of tomatoes?
You should be ashamed advocating cruelty. Hang your head in shame, Tommy.
David in Perth. He lost the argument, but he's going to stick with his point of view because it's the right one. He knows it's right to be opposed to bullfighting because he's been told that lots and lots of times. But if we were to reintroduce it into this country, we would do it differently, wouldn't we? We'd do it so that the broad majority of Britons, you can't please everybody, found it acceptable. And how many young people would benefit from the opportunity of walking out into an amphitheatre of 70 or 80,000 enormously impressed young women, impressed with his courage, impressed with his posture, impressed with that fantastic outfit that the guys wear. And we'd all be hungry for it. I'd do it. Well, I'd think about doing it, okay? I'd think about doing it. You've got to think about everything. You've got to try everything once in life, except, what is it he said? Oh, incest and folk dancing. Pauline calls from Kent. You're on Talk Radio. Pauline, good afternoon.
I have never been so angry as I am now. I listen to your programme as many times as I can. How could you even talk about this? I have seen a bullfight. It was absolutely disgusting. And
what did you go for?
Don't you dare interrupt me. Don't you dare interrupt me. You let me listen. You let me talk.
Right,
I have seen it, and I cried and cried. That was going 20 years ago.
But what did you go for?
I didn't know what I was going to see. Well, I didn't realise. I was a lot younger then.
Oh, dry up. You knew exactly what you were going to see.
No, I did not.
What did you think it was going to be then, greyhound racing?
I did not.
What?
I went, absolutely, I was about 20 years old. I was very young. I didn't realise what I was going to see. And when I saw it, I had to leave there very quickly.
Well, today's 20-year-olds have got their wits about them. They know that it doesn't involve wrestling.
Maybe they're more educated. But I was...
Not with you, though, but anyway.
I've never forgotten it.
No,
never.
No.
And how you could be so flippant over this, I do not know.
Well, first of all...
Tommy, I think you're a great guy, but I think you've gone very wrong here.
Now, if I may, first of all, this is a listener's suggestion, and this is a democracy, you know, that we live in, Pauline, and freedom of speech does count for something in this country. And an avid listener to this show, Scott Rhodes of Manchester, has written with the suggestion, and that suggestion deserves to be aired, and I'm sure you will applaud that.
I do not.
Oh, great. That's censorship for you.
Well, maybe it is, but I think the majority of the people that were phoned this afternoon, Tommy, would be on my side.
Maybe, but the argument still has to take place, doesn't it?
No, it shouldn't.
Would you mind if there were corks on their horns? I know you care about these matadors, but they're very rarely injured.
Oh, come on, Tommy. When I went, the poor bull had blood pouring down from it, and when it was eventually killed, it went up in the air and screamed. It was horrible. How dare you say this should be in this country?
All death is pretty painful, you know.
Don't talk so stupid.
Well, it is.
It is not.
It is. What is it then?
How did the poor bull scream?
Well...
Why did it scream?
Well, because it was dying.
Exactly, and it was in agony.
Well, I'm going to
Tommy, I'm getting very cross with you.
I'm going to scream when it's my turn.
You will die naturally of something or the other. You won't be killed.
I'm sorry, my love, but if you're running away with the idea and you know that isn't true, that we all sort of quietly go, die in our sleep, and it's all peaceful and
Tommy,
everything.
We either die of cancer or something else.
And it's horrible.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
But it's not pushed on us.
Who cares about us? Isn't it?
No, it's not.
No? Don't know about that. Death's a part of life. And, I mean, they're only bulls and cows, We treat them...
How dare you say that? They're lives. They're lives.
No, they're bulls and cows.
They are lives.
But they're not the same as us.
How dare you want to inflict pain on animals?
Well, I can't think of another way of killing an animal that doesn't involve pain.
Just a shotgun. If you've got to be a If you've got to
Yes.
eat meat...
Do you eat meat?
Yes, I do.
Aha.
But...
And how do you like your animals killed, then?
Humanely.
And what is that again? Just remind me what it is to be humanely killed before you die of cancer.
Whatever way in our country is good.
Oh.
But not in Spain.
As long as it's done by a British person, it must be all right.
I know what Spain is. I have a Spanish son.
Here we go again.
In law. He's told me.
do.
He's told me about what goes on in Spain. They're a very cruel country.
Yeah, we're back to that again. See, we really scratched the surface of something here,
Thomas,
haven't we?
you'll get me really going, you
Hablo
are.
usted español, Pauline?
Pardon?
Hablo usted español?
I cannot speak Spanish.
I'll bet you can't either.
That's right, you take the mickey out of
I
me.
certainly will, because you started it, didn't you? Be honest.
I'm going, Tommy.
I don't care. What am I supposed to do? What do you want me to do? Come running after you with a bunch of flowers?
No,
Not on
but
your Nelly. Not on your fat Nelly. No.
Very first time you've got me to phone.
Good. I hope it's the last.
Bye, Tommy. Bye.
Cool. Honestly. Free call 0500 10 53 89. A letter from a listener suggesting that we should consider introducing bullfighting to Britain. The young men of Britain would love it. The young women of Britain would love the young men of Britain who did it. And it might help pay for the BSE crisis. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Here's Jackie in Worcester. You're on Talk Radio. Jackie, hello.
Hi, you're not going far enough, Tommy.
No.
Nowhere near far enough.
No.
We need a butcher so that when they're killed, you can have fresh meat straight away and somebody there with a barbecue. Turn round and sell the meat. Can't get fresher than that. And for the French people there, any horses that get killed, turn round, do the same with the horses. They love the French meat.
Yes.
Love the horse meat.
Yes.
And that's all your food taken care of.
All right, you like the idea,
Absolutely
Jackie,
brilliant.
but we haven't gone far enough. Thank you very much indeed for your mobile call. It's interesting, isn't it, to see what a broad range of views there are on this one, because there would be people who would make a beeline to watch the bullfight and would queue up outside afterwards for a nice fresh steak on the bone. And then there are those who are probably too apoplectic and shaking with rage to press the buttons on their phone. But hang in there and give it a go. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Mark calls from Norfolk. You're on Talk Radio, Mark.
Hello, Tommy.
Hello.
Most people seem to be upset with what's going to happen to the bulls or the cows.
Yes.
So I thought maybe a bit of a comedy interlude. Have you seen Stir Crazy, the film?
I know. I have, yes.
Yeah, they tied the sack of money between the bull's horns.
Yes.
And I thought it might be a bit of fun if you had two unemployed people.
Yes.
Put one set of unemployment benefit between the horns.
Nice.
And let them try and grab it off.
That would work, wouldn't it?
Well, I think so, yeah.
I'd watch that.
It'd save the country a bit of money.
It would.
Everyone would get their entertainment out of it.
Yeah.
I don't see the problem.
It would stop some unemployed people from losing their fitness.
I think it would, yeah.
Because obviously they'd have to, train for it.
And I mean, if there was a list down for, if you sign on, you get down for the list, I think that'd stop some people who don't actually need the unemployment try to claim it.
Mark, that's a very important point. I'll leave it there. If you want to react, the number is free call 0500 10 53 89. Pat's in Cambridge. You're on Talk Radio. Pat.
Oh, hello, Tommy. Yes,
Hello.
I realise you're just winding people up. But I think all the animals that are abused in blood sports have the odds loaded against them anyway. So what I'd like to do is, by all means, introduce bullfighting in this country, provided, I'm all for it if I can make the rules. Okay?
It's okay.
So we disarm all the matadors or whatever that go in the ring. So there is an equal, it is an equal sport.
Right.
But you see, none of the blood sports are equal, are they? So providing I can put the matadors that I choose into the ring, so I'll put in all the child abusers, the factory farmers, the fox hunters, the hare coursers, the fur farmers, so they know how it feels.
See, this is the truth of the matter. Animal lovers are just a bit more bloodthirsty in all truth, aren't they?
I'm not an animal lover, actually, Tommy.
No. But
no, I respect animals. I don't love them.
The difference is that you don't like people.
I do. I do like people. I like people very much.
Don't like a lot of people, though.
I don't like people that abuse those that can't defend themselves.
Just like people like yourself.
Like myself?
Yes.
How do you mean?
Well, I mean, you yourself wouldn't consider yourself fair game to go in against a bull unarmed, Because you haven't done anything wrong, have you?
Well, no.
No.
Why should I go into a bull?
Because you haven't done anything wrong. Have you?
I haven't got
it's the others.
Any reason to fight a bull. Why would I want to do it?
No, exactly. But you haven't done anything wrong, have you?
What do you mean? I don't abuse children.
No, like all the other people that you mentioned, who've done things that are wrong.
Now,
and you haven't done anything wrong, have you?
Anyway, providing that we can do that, and then, if the bull wins, then we spare the life of the bull, okay?
Richard calls from London. You're on Talk Radio. Richard, good afternoon.
Yeah, hello?
Hello, Richard.
Yeah, I haven't heard your radio programme before. I just sort of picked, going through the channels, and I picked up you talking about bullfighting and how macho it was.
Oh, interesting. Thank you for that background.
Yeah, and then I listened to the woman before, and she said, well, you're just basically winding people up. Is that your sort of format?
Sorry, what is the purpose of this call? Why are you ringing me?
I mean, I phoned up to say that I thought you were a total tosser.
Yes.
And they said, well, tell him that. So I'm basically telling you that.
Oh, well, thank you very much indeed.
I mean, is it the sort of, cheap sort of, drift of it? I mean, I can't understand what you're all about. What are you about?
What do you mean, what am I about? I'm looking for the truth. I'm exploring...
What do you mean you're looking for? What sort of truth are you looking for?
I'm exploring serious current affairs issues.
Like what? Talking about bullfighting being really macho?
The BSE crisis.
What's that got to do with bullfighting?
Because if we were to introduce bullfighting to Britain, it would help us to pay for the compensation which the farmers are demanding.
What a load of toss.
Well, excuse me.
What do you mean? What do you mean, excuse me? I mean, that's what you're talking, total and utter toss.
Well, where's the argument there, pal? What have you been listening to?
I was just listening to the other bloke from Perth, and he was saying that...
No, which radio station? If you just found Talk Radio, which radio station, may I ask, has honed your mind in this way?
Honed my mind?
Honed, H-O-N-E-D. Honed your mind.
Well, basically, it's just a load of bullshit, isn't it?
Look, which radio...
I don't know what you're just talking about. First of all, you're looking for the truth, and now you're talking bullshit again.
Can I just interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
Because you're very, 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 very poor when it comes to conversation. Very poor.
Well, all right, well, educate me.
Certainly.
Go on, then.
If we reintroduced bullfighting to Britain, because of course we used to have it, we may even have invented it. But if we were to reintroduce it into this country...
Bullfighting was invented by the Spanish in about 19...
Bullfighting was invented by the Spanish! It wasn't!
You're talking about bear baiting.
You know nothing.
All right, what about then you
nothing.
getting in an arena with a bull that hasn't got 3 spears in its back, its horns haven't been shaved off...
We're talking about BSE crisis.
Well, you've obviously got it, you daft sod.
Human BSE.
Well, I don't know.
Quite possibly.
You've got a human... You can't be human, can you?
Oh, quite possibly. Look, calm down. Calm down. I can't have people going all rabid on me. It doesn't make for good radio.
I thought we were talking about BSE, not rabies.
We're talking about BSE, and we're talking about what to do with all those wobbly cows. What are you going to do with them?
I don't know. If I were you, I'd stick them up with everything else.
No, you see, I'm afraid I had to get rid of that because that wasn't very, very nice, was it? In the middle of the afternoon.
I thought you were looking for the truth.
You go back to whichever music station it was that you've contaminated us with. Go on, clear off. Go on, clear off.
I'll see if I can find some Spanish music.
Go on, clear off. Go on. I'm sorry about that. But I had to listen to the completion of the sentence. I did. You probably know how it was completed. That's all right, because my nose is clean. Free call 0500 1053 89. We're discussing bullfighting and the benefits which may or may not shake down from reintroducing that sport to this country. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Tommy Boyd. Free call 0500 1053 89.
The vexed question of education between 3 and 4. That's how you spell it, as well as everything else. But between now and 3 o'clock, we're chewing over the possibility of introducing bullfighting to this country. And John calls from Birmingham. You're on Talk Radio, John.
Hello, amen there, brother.
There.
Yeah. I mean, it's no wonder all these cows have got BSE. I mean, I think my wife would be completely mad if someone wanted to shove spears in my back and hit me with sandbags and all this. But, I mean, at the end of the day, one question occurs to me, and that's why is leather so expensive now when they're getting rid of all these cows?
What a good question, mate. And that's never been asked anywhere on the news at 10.
There's loads of them. I mean, just getting rid of them, aren't they?
It's all very well saying, the price of meat is this, that, and the other. But what about the price of a decent shoulder bag?
Yeah, or your shoes, or, all those things. But, I mean, I like that guy earlier that said we ought to make a game of it. He could be a bit like gladiators, couldn't he?
Yeah.
You could even dress them in grass. You could have you could have turf and sod.
Have you heard all these people who've been coming on saying, well, we wouldn't do that in this country. We could never do that in this country because we're so civilised. The Spanish are a primitive bunch of heathens whose cows, right, all went mad because we fed them duff stuff.
We fed them themselves half the time.
Yeah.
I mean, where do they think half of the blood sports in the world came from?
Yes.
The empire.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be so wonderful to animals in this country.
A lot of people have said, why did we bother to invade India?
India?
I'll tell you why we invaded India. Because some of the...
tigers.
Exactly!
Ooh. Yeah, let's go and get one of them.
We invaded India for the wildlife.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, and then all feathers in the hats. Oh, wasn't it wonderful?
Okay, no oil, no textiles, no industry, nothing to speak of, no natural resources, no precious metals or anything like that, but tiger.
Yeah, let's go and get one of them.
Huh?
I'd love a nice tiger's tail right now.
John, thank you for your call. Stuart calls from Warwick. You're on Talk Radio. Stuart, hello.
Oh, Tommy, I've got... Hello?
Hello?
I've got a much better spectator sport, going on for your previous conversation.
Okay.
Well, there's lots of dangerous lions and tigers in zoos and circuses and stuff, which are probably going to be closed down soon anyway. So why not have pro-celebrity big game hunting? But only allow the contestants 2 rounds of ammunition.
Yeah.
It should be enough to kill the lion or tiger.
Yes.
But if they bottle it, what a great telly.
It would, wouldn't it? I can see any of the gladiators in there doing it. You say pro-celebrities. I can't think of many celebrities who would be up for it.
Well, yes, perhaps a few could be nominated, but I mean, to be honest with you, bullfighting, I mean, it's a little bit like watching Manchester United play the King's Head second 11, isn't it? I mean, there's only going to be one result. But
I don't know. You were watching last night, were you? They were well turned over by a team not a lot better than King's Head second 11, really.
I was watching it and I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yes, well, we do, don't we? Don't we? we love seeing Manchester United turned over.
Absolutely.
Everybody does. They missed Sheringham, didn't they? That was the thing, I think.
It's amazing. They always miss the player so badly that happens to be injured. I'm a Coventry fan. We know about injuries. We played YTS kids, not £5 million imports. But anyway,
what is the matter with that little Celt who manages your team, eh? What is his problem?
Well...
all that A4 he gets through during the game.
I was thinking that, actually.
What's all that about?
Well, I was thinking that myself. And who did he used to play for?
Manchester United.
Aha.
Aha. Aha. Go away. Thank you for your call. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Margaret calls from South Wales. You're on Talk Radio, Margaret.
Hello, Tommy. It's obviously you don't know much about bullfighting, otherwise you wouldn't be talking such rubbish. I haven't heard all your programme, but I have in the past, and now in a smaller way, worked with the animal defence in Madrid. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. I have videos upstairs to prove, and I've literature, and I've been to the fiestas and bullfights to try to protect the animals, so I've seen exactly what happens. And if you're talking about the bullfight itself, forget about that. Think about what happens before the bullfight, years before the bullfight. Children as young as 8 and 9 years of age are given what they call discablos. And discablos is a sword-like instrument with a 2-inch stop end on it. So they can go into the slaughterhouses and practice on the little calves and the sheep to sever the spinal cord. And I can tell you I have got photographs of them happening. They go in once, they go in twice, they go in 6 and 7 times. These animals are taking 10 and 20 minutes to die screaming in death. And if you don't care about those, think about the horses. They use the horses that cannot work any longer. They are blindfolded. Their genitals are burnt if they don't go into the ring. When they go into the ring, Tommy, you would see...
Steady on.
Tommy, listen to what I've just got to say, please. Don't be ignorant.
I'm not being ignorant.
You are being ignorant because
you're being
you're
alarmist.
interfering and
and you are inviting people to talk on this radio,
Well,
and you
don't-
will not listen to sense.
I won't
So
allow
can send
people
you
to
literature
start
if you
going...
want to.
I do not want
literature.
pictures of
I have
scorched horses'
photographs
genitals,
of-
woman.
I have photographs of
What is the
horses
matter with her?
tramping their own intestines
fine.
after the bull has gored their intestines out.
Fair enough.
They are using donkeys as well as horses.
But-
I can send you a video of donkeys being gored to death in the ring.
I've got
Now,
worse videos than that at home.
such horrendous torture? Because as far as I'm concerned, you're not a human being if you do.
Margaret, I'm not suggesting that we do it exactly as the Spanish used to do it.
They shouldn't be doing any torture to any human being, any animal, or anything.
It's not a
because
torture.
Nobody in this world has got the right to torture.
Can I just
an
ask you
animal
something,
or a
though?
human being.
Hang on, hold on. You know, animals do this sort of thing to each other, and a lot worse.
We've got a brain, Tommy, or we're supposed to have a brain, and we know it's wrong.
Yes,
to torture an animal is totally wrong.
Can we just... Yeah, let's keep it moving, because we need... Let's go into uncharted territory a bit. Fine, yes, we've got a brain, and animals haven't. And they do...
Of course animals have got a brain, Tommy.
But they do terrible things to each other, but their brain means...
They don't do... The only thing that they do terrible to each other, Tommy, is to eat each other to live.
Have you got a cat?
To survive.
Have you got a cat?
I haven't got a cat, no.
Do you know what cats do to their prey?
And for the people that are saying about British people are
Not interested in
horrendously
that
cruel.
one.
I have 12 dogs in the house, all
bothered
rescued.
about that.
Broken backs, almost dead through starvation.
Got a funny feeling
run
that
over and left to die in the street.
People of South Wales
So
have heard
don't-
this one before.
Sorry?
What about cats and their prey?
What did you say about the people of South Wales, Tommy?
What about
You
cats?
can't win the argument, so you're trying to win through being ignorant,
Well,
are
you're
you?
not having a conversation with me. You're just up on your soapbox.
Of course I'm on my soapbox, because you've been on your soapbox all afternoon, spouting rubbish.
I'm only adjudicating the debate, dear. Now, listen to me. What about what cats do to their prey? That's pretty
I'm
cruel,
not
isn't
talking
it?
about cats.
No, I am.
I don't get... I'm talking about bulls and bullfighting. You started the subject, and if you can't continue it, then get something that you can continue on.
I can
'Cause
continue it,
if you can't
Margaret.
argue, and you haven't got the facts in front of you, don't argue about something you don't know anything about. You're absolutely ridiculous the way
Well,
you're talking. At least if you want to talk about a subject, know about it first.
I take it that you're not considering changing your mind on this one.
Oh, Tommy, if I lived to 1,000,000 years, I would never change my mind. And the people with any heart or any compassion in this country or the world would think exactly the same way. God gave everybody the spark of life, and who are we to snuff that spark out and torture the animals? If you want to eat meat, or anybody in the world wants to eat meat...
If it's God, then. All right, so you're a God lover, are you?
I'm not saying I'm a God lover, no.
Well, you said if God gave us the spark of life.
Well, we've all got the spark of life.
But did God give it to us or not?
You're going off the subject now.
Well,
I don't
you
care
raised it, you
whether
silly
I believe
woman.
in God or not is nothing to do with whether we should be cruel to animals.
Oh, I can't have a conversation with you. You're just not interested.
You haven't got an answer to me because I got too many flipping facts in my brain, and I've seen too many things over the last 15 years in Spain.
Look, you
and in this country.
You just do yourself a power of good and slam the phone down, will you?
Oh.
But do it properly. Go on, slam it down, woman.
Oh, dear.
Go on.
Dear. You've lost this one right enough. You have lost this one.
Just slam the phone down.
You never win against me, I can tell you that now.
Oh, listen to her. And she doesn't like blood sports. Go on, slam the phone down, woman.
Blood sports, you're sitting there, you're not getting carved up with a knife,
All right,
are
then.
you?
All right. Are you going to slam the phone down or not?
You're going to slam down on the phone on me, are you?
I haven't got a phone to slam down. If I had a phone to slam down, I'd probably use it on you first, then I'd slam it down. Now slam the phone down.
No, I'm not going to slam the phone down. You'll have to cut me off.
All right, well, goodbye.
Bye.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening. We're discussing the BSE crisis in our own way. Jenny calls from Aberdeenshire. You're on Talk Radio. Jenny, good afternoon.
Hi.
Hi.
I work with cattle on a daily basis in a cattle mart. There's about 2,000 cattle a week go through. And I would like to know where you're going to find these BSE cattle.
Where are we going to find them?
Well, there is no BSE cattle in this country anymore.
Well, then why are the farmers still going on about wanting compensation?
Because the government have decided that all cattle over 30 months old have to be slaughtered.
Yes.
Regardless of whether they've got BSE or not.
Yes, that's right. Well, they're the ones we're referring to. The ones
Yeah.
who are suspected of suffering from BSE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if a cattle...
Does that answer your question?
Well, not really, no. You're saying you're going to use these cattle which have got the BSE.
Yes.
For what you were saying.
So all the ones who, for example, would have been T-bone steaks, but won't be now T-bone steaks.
So you're now saying that they've not got BSE. You're now saying it's because of their age.
They're BSE cattle.
Well, no, they're not BSE cattle.
They may be not BSE cattle. You don't know, but we're calling them BSE cattle because it saves time. Really.
Well, really, I think that's what's causing a lot of the problems with the beef is because people are saying they're BSE cattle and there's no BSE in the country anymore. And even if there were BSE, I think we've moved on to much more civilized. Britain's a nation of animal lovers. I mean, it would never happen in this country anymore.
How do you kill your cows then, Jenny?
Well, like the ones that go for the cull, the ones that the government say are over 30 months old, they go to an abattoir and they're shot.
Right.
And then they're skinned,
right.
etc.
And that's humane?
Sorry?
That's humane.
Well, the thing is, I mean, being brought up in a farm, coming from Scotland, cattle are bred for eating.
Yes, that's right. I remember. That's their purpose,
otherwise
isn't it?
They go extinct. But
that's their purpose. That's their purpose. That's why they were put here, so that they could eventually be carted off to an abattoir and shot.
Yeah.
Fine.
But not to be tortured.
Not to be a sport. Not to be a form of pleasure. No. Nothing to do with pleasure. They must not. Yes, their end must not be connected with pleasure, as in bullfighting.
Well, eating's pleasure.
I suppose it is really when you think about it. Isn't that funny
torture.
then?
I mean, if they're killed humanely, then
that's
it's
right.
fair enough because that's what they're here for.
Absolutely.
I mean, if all these veggie people got their way of it, cattle would be extinct. We wouldn't have cattle anymore because there'd be no use.
This is an argument that vegetarians have not thought through. Alan calls from Birmingham and gets the last word on this one. Alan, you're on Talk Radio. Bullfighting.
I was just thinking, ideal opportunity for people to keep, lose weight, have the bulls running through the street.
Yes.
Like they do in Seville.
Pamplona, yes.
And have them running along, they lose some weight, bit of excitement for their life.
Yes.
What do you think?
And well, if they come through your hometown and everyone's out there, you never know, somebody you know might get killed, and that's always interesting.
Well, I've just thought I'm a bit overweight. I could do with losing a bit. I don't like going to the gym. So there you go.
Alan, thank you for your call. Education in the next hour of the programme. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
This is definitely not Bob putting a funny voice on. Click like and subscribe to the Tommy Boyd Shrine YouTube channel, and we may get more Bob Staunton. Now, if you'll excuse me, I am going to stick laxatives in Tommy Boyd's coffee. If he won't call it quits, I'll make him strain with the squits.